Melting of iceberg and sea ice is not a reason for sea level rise. However, melting of ice present on mountains and on Antarctica is a reason for increase in sea level rise. Assume that the water in this container is our sea, and this is the ice on the land, that is on the mountains and on Antarctica. When this ice will melt, then new water will be added to the sea. This will cause a rise in sea level. However, if in case you by your hand you pick these ice cubes and before they melt you place them in the water like this, then obviously due to this process sea level will rise because some additional thing has been put in the water. That is, when a piece of ice sheet gets broken, a piece of ice shelf breaks and comes into the sea, then yes, it increases the sea level. But now once this ice piece is already floating in the sea, that is, this iceberg is floating in the sea, and when it will melt, then sea level will not rise because here we are not adding any additional water. The water in the frozen form already present in the sea is simply being melted. So melting of iceberg will not cause a rise in sea level. What is sea ice? When the sea water due to extremely low temperature freezes, then that becomes sea ice. And when this sea ice melts, it does not cause a rise in sea level because again, when sea ice melts, nothing new is being added. The water already present in the container freezes and then it melts. Nothing new is being added, so melting of sea ice also does not cause a rise in sea level. According to NASA, if all of the land ice melts and flows into sea, then Earth will rotate slowly and the length of the day will increase. When all the land ice will melt and this water will flow into the sea, then sea level will rise. Then, to conserve angular momentum, the rotation of Earth will slow down a bit. This slowing down of rotation of Earth will increase the length of day. However, when sea ice or iceberg will melt, then sea level will not rise. Therefore, rotation of Earth will it will not be impacted and the length of the day will also not increase. Now, how does conservation of angular momentum work? That is physics and that is not required for your prelims. Just remember that if all the land ice melts, then Earth's rotation will slow down and the length of day will increase. So, in prelims, if UPSC asks what is the cause of sea level rise, then mark all the options as correct. Obviously, use your common sense, but most probably all the options will be correct except sea ice and iceberg. Many coaching institutes teach that thermal expansion of water is the biggest reason for sea level rise. Whenever anything is heated, its volume increases. If there is a piece of steel, if there is a piece of steel and you heat it, then obviously its length will increase. Similarly, when water is heated due to global warming, then its volume will increase and that will cause a rise in sea level. Many coaching institutes say that this thermal expansion of water is the biggest reason for sea level rise, but that is wrong. They will show you this pie diagram. So this pie diagram shows that thermal expansion of water is the biggest reason. Thermal expansion of water is the biggest reason for sea level rise, even more than melting of glaciers. But what this pie chart does is, it divides this land ice into three parts. The glaciers of the mountains like Himalayas, the glaciers of Greenland, and the glaciers of Antarctica. However, if you combine them and see them as land ice, then their contribution to sea level rise is more than contribution of thermal expansion of water. So please remember for your exam that the biggest contributor to sea level rise is melting of land ice and not thermal expansion of water. Thermal expansion of water is a reason, but it is not the biggest reason. For example, see this chart from US government website. It clearly shows that in the last 30 years, this has been sea level rise due to thermal expansion of water, and this has been the sea level rise due to melting of land ice. One important difference between Arctic, that is on North Pole, and Antarctica at the South Pole is that at North Pole, Arctic is a ocean. We have learnt it, right? Arctic is a ocean which is surrounded by land. Arctic is a ocean surrounded by land. However, at South Pole, Antarctica, Antarctica is land. Just like there is land on India, there is land in Africa. Similarly, there is land in Antarctica at the South Pole. And on this land, there is ice. Now, surrounding this land is ocean. So, at the North Pole, there is an ocean. At the North Pole, there is an ocean surrounded by land. At the South Pole, there is land surrounded by ocean. It is very cold at the poles, therefore at North Pole, this ocean has frozen. This frozen ocean seems to us as land, but it is not a land. Okay, so if you see it at the North Pole, this is your Greenland. So on Greenland there is land. This is sea level. Okay, on Greenland there is land. On this land there is a couple of kilometer thick ice. But as you move towards the North Pole, at the North Pole it is all ocean. Due to cold, this ocean has frozen and there is ice. Now obviously, since there is no land, the thickness of the ice is only a few meters. It is not 2-3 kilometer. When you come at the South Pole, there is solid land. South Pole, there is solid land. On this solid land, there is thick sheet of ice, even 2-3 kilometer thick sheet of ice. In fact, Antarctica is the highest continent. Okay, and due to this height also you can say that Antarctica is much colder than Arctic. Now why is this difference important? These differences are important because in the last 100 years global temperature has increased by 1 degree Celsius. In the last 100 years global temperature has increased by 1 degree Celsius. But the temperature of Arctic, the temperature at Arctic has increased by 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is called as Arctic amplification. And the reason that we just learned that it is ocean at north and land at south, this difference is the reason why Arctic, the temperature at Arctic has increased more than the temperature at Antarctica or the global average. Now how is that? Ice has good albedo, that is, it reflects almost all the solar energy that it gets. So there is almost no warming because whatever energy came, it was reflected back. So no warming happened here. In the Arctic, below this ice, there is ocean. So when this ice melts, over a period of time, this ice will melt. Now when this ice melts, then darker ocean is exposed. When darker ocean is exposed, then this albedo effect reduces. That is, instead of reflecting, most of the solar energy is now absorbed. When this lot of the solar energy is absorbed, the temperature will rise. Therefore, temperature is rising quite fast at Arctic. What about Antarctica? In Antarctica, there is no ocean. Okay, below the thick layers of ice, there is no ocean, there is land. and on this land there is thick sheet of ice. Now when this thick sheet of ice melts, then again there is ice. When this also melts, then again there is ice. So the albedo effect continues to work at Antarctica. But at Arctic, there is very thin layer of ice due to water below, and when this melts, then ocean is exposed and albedo effect reduces. Albedo effect continues at the South Pole. Therefore, Arctic amplification, that is Arctic is heating up much faster than rest of the world or than the Antarctica. So in prelims, if UPSC asks what are the implications of this Arctic amplifications, what are the consequences, then consequences or implications are just like your applications. That is, almost all the options will be correct. For example, if UPSC says that due to Arctic amplification, humidity in the local region will increase, yes, because earlier there was ice, so there was less evaporation, but now there is water, and that water is absorbing the heat, so there will be more evaporation. When there is more evaporation of water, humidity will increase, okay, clouds will form, there will be more rainfall, polar bear will not have ice sheets, okay, then there will be so many reasons for like this. So implications will most probably be correct, all the options will be correct. NCPOR has said, that is National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, has said that Arctic sea ice saw the largest decline in last 40 years. So please remember, melting of Arctic sea ice will not cause a rise in sea level. Implications can be anything, and if UPSC asks some basic question about NCPOR, National Center for Polar Ocean Research, then at most UPSC will ask the ministry or where is it situated. So the ministry of all these institutes, NC, National Center for Ocean Info Service. Info service sounds like IT system, right? Information services or information technology. And the hub is Hyderabad. So National Center for Ocean Info Service is in Hyderabad. National Center for Polar and Ocean Research is in Goa. And one of its branches, one of its research stations is Himansh, that is in Spiti Valley in Himachal Pradesh. Then there is National Center for, so this is Polar Ocean Research is in Goa, okay, and then we come to Chennai. In Chennai we have National Center for Coastal Research and National Institute for Ocean Technology. Just read them 2-3 times and you will be able to recall them in the exam. So just remember their headquarters and the ministry. The ministry for all of these is Ministry of Earth Sciences. India also has some research stations at North and South Pole. At North Pole we have Himadri and IND-ARC. Himadri was established in 2008 and IND-ARC in 2014. Both of them are in Norway. At the South Pole, in 1983, we formed Dakshin Gangotri Research Station. 1989, Maitri, and 2012, Bharti. We just now learned that Arctic is not land, Arctic is ocean, and it is world's smallest ocean. According to size, the correct decreasing order in ocean size is PASA. PASA stands for PAISA, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern Ocean and Arctic Ocean. Southern Ocean is the ocean around the South Pole, the ocean around Antarctica. Arctic Council was formed in 1996 by Ottawa Declaration. Its headquarters is in Norway. For exam, you should know the names of its members. The same thing was asked by UPSC in 2014. So remember the names according to the chronology geographically. Alaska of USA, then Canada, then Denmark, that is Greenland, Iceland, the three countries Norway, Sweden, Finland, then Russia, and then again the USA. Besides knowing the names of the members of Arctic Council, you should also know the names of some major seas of this ocean. Some major seas of Arctic Ocean are Sea of Chukchi, Beaufort Sea, Kara Sea, and Barents Sea. Which is the biggest sea in Arctic Ocean? It is Barents Sea. You can also remember it this way, that who is older or bigger, you or your parents? Obviously the parents. So from parents, remember Barents. So Barents Sea is the largest sea in Arctic Ocean. The Sea of Bering and Labrador Sea, these are not in Arctic. They are outside the Arctic Circle. What is aerosol radiative forcing? See, solar insolation comes on Earth, Earth absorbs it, then Earth radiates some insolation or some energy. The difference between these two, absorption and radiation, is called as radiative forcing. Okay, so ideally they should be balanced, otherwise the temperature of Earth will change. There is very slight difference between the two, and this difference is called as radiative forcing. If the difference is more about Earth absorbing more radiation than it reflecting, okay, if Earth is absorbing more radiation, then Earth will heat up, and this is called as positive radiative forcing. If Earth radiates more radiation and absorbs less, then that will be negative, that is Earth is cooling down. So just remember the meaning of radiative forcing. Radiative forcing means the difference between the radiation absorbed and radiated by the Earth. What are aerosols? Aerosols are particles which are suspended in air. They can come naturally or they can be due to anthropogenic reasons. For example, if there is any fire, then some particles will enter the air and remain there. They can come from the industries as well. Now when they're floating in the air, then moisture will accumulate on them and they will form the clouds. So that is one thing. Another thing is, many of these aerosols either reflect sunlight or they absorb the sunlight. For example, let us say there are no aerosols, then sunlight will directly come to the earth and warm up the earth. But some aerosols, they reflect back the sunlight. Now since they are reflecting back the sunlight is not able to, or let us say less sunlight is reaching earth. When less sunlight reaches earth, then there will be cooling effect. So here aerosols are providing a cooling effect. Another thing can also happen. Some aerosols may absorb the sunlight. For example, let us say there are no aerosols. Then sunlight will fall on the earth and some of it will reflect back. However, if there are many aerosols in between, then these aerosols will absorb. They will absorb the solar insolation. When they absorb the solar insolation, they get heated up. Their temperature will increase. And when they come in contact with the air nearby, then this air will also get heated up and the temperature of earth will increase. So earlier here the aerosols were providing a cooling effect, but here the aerosols are providing a warming effect. So it depends from aerosol to aerosol. It depends mainly on their size and material. Okay, so there was some news about aerosols. Then from this, what you have to remember for your prelims is about the National Carbonaceous Aerosol Program. So this program was in news, and you should just remember that it was not recently launched. It was launched in 2011 by Ministry of Environment, mainly to study the effect of aerosols on climate change. So this I've explained. Some provide cooling effect and some may provide warming effect. Now see the 2019 question. In the context of which of the following do scientists suggest use of cirrus cloud thinning and injection of sulfate aerosols. So you should know that aerosols, the sulfate aerosols are very good reflectors, like these one. Okay, they were reflecting the sunlight. So sulfate aerosols reflect the sunlight, hence they help in reducing the global warming. Also the cirrus cloud thinning. So mainly cirrus clouds are at very high altitude. At very high altitude there are very thin layer of clouds. They are mostly made of ice. Okay. Now their property is that they reflect the sunlight and they absorb. They reflect also and they absorb also. But the absorption effect is more. Okay, we are talking about the cirrus clouds. In cirrus clouds the absorption effect is much more prominent than the reflection effect. Since they are absorbing the sunlight, they are causing the warming of earth. So scientists are saying if we somehow thin them or we reduce them, if we reduce them, then there will be less global warming. What is the difference between mitigation and adaptation? See, the simple trick to remember them is that mitigation reduces CO2 emission, whereas adaptation is about how we adjust with the circumstances, how we adapt ourselves. For example, if we use sustainable transportation instead of petrol and diesel, we use electric cars, then less CO2 will come into atmosphere. In mitigation, we are preventing the generation of CO2 by using electric vehicles. If we become energy efficient or we use renewable energy, then less coal will be burnt in the thermal power station. When less coal is burnt, less CO2 will come into atmosphere. So we are preventing the generation of CO2. That is mitigation. Once we are not able to prevent the generation of CO2, CO2 has come into the atmosphere and CO2 has caused global warming and climate change, then all we can do is we can adjust with the circumstances. We can create our infrastructure in such a way that it is impacted least by global warming. We can suppose on the coast of Odisha there are more cyclones due to climate change, then we cannot prevent it, but we can improve the infrastructure there. We can make houses less prone to flood protection. Okay, we can use high yielding seeds, we can use hybrid seeds, we can use seeds which are less affected by global warming. That is adaptation. Okay, so mitigation, we prevent the generation of CO2. In adaptation, we adjust ourselves. Another simple way of remembering this is a small trick. Think like this, that from crude oil, CO2 comes out. A monster named CO2 comes out from oil, from crude oil barrels. How do we prevent this? We can prevent generation of CO2 by putting mud on this, that is mitti, or we can put a gate on the oil, that from this gate CO2's monster should not come out. That is mitigation. Mitigate. How do you mitigate the things? By putting mitti and by putting gate. But once this monster is out in the open and it is causing climate change, then all we can do is, just like a desert plant adapts itself to the circumstances, we can also adapt ourselves. That is adaptation. This first class of environment has total 13 pages. Of these 13, we have already discussed page number 1, 2 and 3. From page number 4 to page number 13, all these pages you can read by yourself. The PDF you can download from this link, allinclusiveis.com/prelims2021. Okay. If you want the explanation of these pages also from 4 to 13, then that is a part of our paid course. In the environment paid course, class number 1 pages we have explained. Page number 1 to 3 we have explained on YouTube. From page number 4 to 13 is a part of paid course. Similarly, for class 2, some pages will be explained on YouTube and rest of the pages are explained on the paid course, right? Paid course is optional. Okay, if you want, you purchase it, else you can always read the PDF for free. Download from here and read it for free. The cost for this paid course is 250 rupees for the English video. This video has been totally in the English language, explanation is in English, so 250 rupees. Okay, in this 250 rupees you will get all the paid portion of the environment current affairs. How to make the payment? Even if you don't want to pay this, you can always read the PDF for free, right? How to purchase the course? If you are using Android mobile, open the Play Store, search for the app All Inclusive IAS. Download and install the app, open the app, register yourself on the app, and then on the bottom of the screen you will see an option of store. In the store you will get such options. Okay, search for the course environment English explanation for 250 rupees. If you want to purchase in Hindi explanation 200 rupees, English explanation 250 rupees. Click on it, make the payment. All payment methods are accepted here. After that, once you have purchased the course, again click on this store and your course will be here accessible to you. If you are not using Android phone, then you want to access it from your iOS or desktop, then the link for that is in description box. This is a YouTube video. Go to the description box, there is a link, click on that, register yourself, make the payment, and you will be able to access the course. If you are using desktop or iOS, please use only the Chrome browser, else you may not be able to see the videos. Thank you very much.